This is the dawn of a new era in British karting. Over 550 drivers in 12 classes competing for victory over 18 race weekends. This is the Motorsport UK British Kart Championships. As the IAMI season holds its final round at Whilton Mill, Oliver Greenall has grabbed the initiative in Mini X30 in the first final by winning the race and securing the title in the process. So how does he reflect on his achievement?
Yeah, it was a big thing yesterday, winning it. It's my third year, I think, being at the front, so finally winning it was just felt so relieved. Everyone's worked really hard this year and I'm really grateful for all of that, and it was really happy last night at the hotel. Hopefully next year I'll be doing Junior X30 in the British Championship again, but yeah, we'll see.
Theo Makuris and Luke Watts line up on the front row of the starting grid with Edward Pearson and Aidan Lyne on the second row. Then it's Gabriel Stilp and Alfie Baxter-Davies, from Olivia Algieri and Bart Harrison, Jessica Edgar, Ian Aguilera, Evan Brown and Ashton Parsons. They come out of the heel of the boot, and this is the last race of the season for Mini X30. The lights are going to go out this time, surely. Yes, indeed they do, and away we go to the first corner. No problem at all from the start from Theo Makuris, and Ed Pearson breaks into second place as they go through Crooked Oblivion for the first time. Gabriel Stilp runs out a little bit wide, but as they make the climb up towards Christmas, it's going to be a really exciting run from here. Up into the braking zone, and round the outside comes Luke Watts. He chops across on the inside of Edward Pearson and gets through into second place. Lovely bit of racecraft there from Watts, and now tucks in behind Theo Makuris as they head down to Ashby for the first time. No major disasters from the field so far. So it's Makuris, then in second place that is Watts, third place it is Pearson, fourth place is Gabriel Stilp. After a fantastic start, looks like the two Fusions are battling side by side. That is Harrison and Edgar, and Ian Aguilera is trying to get in there as well as they head out of the two right apexes, two left apexes even, down the back straight and up towards the ankle of the boot. It is Makuris leading the way, then it is Watts, Pearson, fourth position. It is still a close battle, but that looks like Aidan Lyne has now got through past Gabriel Stilp, and Olivia Algieri is there in sixth position for good measure, with Alfie Baxter-Davies having an amazing weekend here at a circuit he's made his own over the months. A brilliant performance from him as he runs in seventh place at the moment. Being caught at the moment rapidly though, as he runs wide through Crook, and he might lose out here to Ian Aguilera, with Harrison and Edgar waiting in the wings. Brown and Parsons are still in the mix there as well, and it's going to be three wide into Christmas for these three drivers as Alfie Baxter-Davies tries desperately to hang on, but he's not quite able to, and Aguilera and Edgar are squabbling away there. Sorry, that's Aguilera and Harrison. Edgar is now closing down on Alfie Baxter-Davies, who goes right round the outside to Ashby. It's a good run off the turn, but Jessica Edgar does get through, so it's going to be a really interesting run as they continue their charge forward. So Makuris, Watts, Pearson, Aidan Lyne, and then the two crop promotions of Stilp and Algieri. And then we've got Aguilera in front of Harrison, Edgar in front of Baxter-Davies, and then it is Evan Brown in front of Ashton Parsons. So they come off the final turn, and Theo Makuris is just keeping on going on the way he has gone all weekend long. And if it stays like this, then Theo Makuris is going to overtake Luke Watts in the driver's standings and will finish the year in P2. Greenall has already got the title, that's sewn up, subject to official confirmation of course, but Theo Makuris, if he beats Watts in this race, is going to claim the runner-up spot at the Vice Championship in 2019 in Mini X30, so there's a lot at stake here. Unfortunately, Jessica Edgar had a brilliant run yesterday until the final one when she had a retirement, and that cost her most of her opportunities to get into second position as Harrison gets up the inside of teammate Aguilera in Ashby. That's a lovely bit of racecraft between the Fusions, but they really need to stop racing each other. Oh, and Stilp has had a spin, and Algieri goes into the side of him. And unfortunately, the two crop promotion drivers have now fallen into the clutches of the Fusion Motorsport trio. So that's going to be a tough one for them both to hang on to. I think Stilp was trying to have a go at Aidan Lyne and just lost his braking zone. And now up the inside, that is Jess Edgar getting the run on teammate Ian Aguilera. So Aguilera now falls to the back of the queue. And in front, it is still Makuris from Watts, Pearson and Aidan Lyne. So the top four remains at that. Very tricky to hold the kart around the circuit in these greasy conditions, but the drivers are doing a fair job of it. It is not easy. We're still in that little flirtation line between wet and dry, as there are parts of the course that are fairly dry, other parts of the course that are incredibly damp, so they've got to be so careful. And Watts is doing the homework here. He is charging after Theo Makuris, and trying to get that gap down. Whoever beats the other of these two, McCurris and Watts, is going to finish the season second in the point standings in front of Jessica Edgar and Edward Pearson. So Edgar and Pearson definitely need a bit of a break here to move their way further forward. Pearson could do with the two up front having a little bit of a misdemeanor. But so far so good, as Watts is all over the back of Theo McCurris now as they come up the toe of the boot and down the drop into the heel. They will come down the main straight once again, and this is going to be a very tight fight moving forward. So let's see what happens as they cross the line one more time with Feely. Down the straight again and into the hairpin. A bit of a run wide there from Theo McCurris, and Watts is going to get alongside, and they're going to go side by side on the run to Christmas, and Watts is there. He takes the lead into Christmas hairpin. Lovely bit of driving and negotiating there from Watts as he gets the job done on Theo McCurris. Now he's got to hold it through Inkermans and up towards Ashby. Braking zone. Theo McCurris is still giving him plenty of pressure. Now if it finishes like this, then the roles will be reversed and Watts will finish ahead of McCurris in the standings. So it's very tight at the end of the season. McCurris having another look at Watts. Watts goes wide. McCurris tucks back for the inside, but the wide line in the wet is not a bad idea. He's able to pick up moisture on the tyres and keep things flowing quite nicely. Up into the ankle of the boot, and McCurris is still holding very hard station there in behind. The double apex right of the toe and then into the heel as they go over the main straight once again with 10 minutes on the clock, 5 minutes completed. This is going to be a sensational battle for the victory between Watts and McCurris, and as they come across the line, Watts is now going to finish 4 points ahead of Theo McCurris in the title fight unless McCurris can get up the inside of Watts, and this is the battle for the title now for the Vice Championship. Greenall has got the job done, as we know, but the Vice Championship is up for grabs, and Watts and McCurris are now in a straight fight. Whoever beats the other is going to get the job done. The Vice Championship is up for grabs. Here comes McCurris up on the inside. No chance onto the inside of the left-hander. Watts shuts him down. Nicely held there. And now Watts is going to drift out wide. McCurris will get the inside line and gets the lead. Lovely bit of racecraft from Theo McCurris. So he's back into the lead as they come onto the back straight now. In through the left-hander. At the ankle of the boot. Into the toe. Great bit of racecraft now from these two. Second in the championship standings is Watts up for grabs. They come into the heel and onto the main straight once again. 9 minutes and 9 on the clock as McCurris crosses the line and retakes second in the point standings by just 2 points to Luke Watts. Watts has got to hold station. He's got to be careful. Pearson is still third. Meanwhile, Olivier Algieri has worked hard to get past first his teammate, who has now slipped behind all three of the fusions, and now he's working on the back of Aidan Line. So Olivier Algieri is in 5th position, trying to close up on Aidan Line in the Cato Motorsport machine. So 3 leaders have come through, no problem at all. Is this going to be the move on the inside from Algieri? He has a go on the inside of Aidan Line, and he's there, up into P4. Lovely job there from Olivier Algieri. A good recovery drive over the course of the weekend as well. Now, which of the fusions is that in P6? I think that is going to be Bart Harrison. It is indeed. And then Jessica Edgar. They run very wide through the second left-hander in the second sector. As they come onto the back straight once again, up to the heel of the boot. They're going to have a really exciting battle, these three, as now Bart Harrison has caught up to the back of Algieri and Line, and Jessica Edgar is not a million miles away in 7th place either. Up front, Theo McCurris has grabbed the lead from Watts and is starting to check out, but he can't afford to push too hard too soon, especially if those wets are going to last the full distance of a race, because he's got to be careful how hard he pushes the tyres. It's going to be a slower race than we've seen from the earlier final yesterday, so it will be a very tough fight, and we know obviously how tricky it's going to be as the weekend progresses, but there's going to be a really exciting run all the way through this race. We know how tough it is. Absolutely sensational run all the way through this field. But so far, so good for Theo McCurris, who's checking out a little way in front of Luke Watts. Meanwhile, Bart Harrison has made the bid to get past Aidan Line and got through. Now he drifts out wide and Line gets back through on the inside line. Bart Harrison has another crack now at Aidan Line as they come up to the boot. Aidan Line sends it to the right-hand side for the left-hander. He can't find a way through. Can he get him on the switchback? He's trying to get the undercut, and on the inside of Aidan Line, and Bart Harrison is going to make the move at the final turn, and I think he's made the move stick there. So Bart Harrison is back into position as he gets past Aidan Line, and that's for P5. Now Jessica Edgar's going to line up a move of her own as she tries to get the move done on Aidan Line. They come out of oblivion and up the bank once again, and in they come to Christmas, and Jessica Edgar is up the inside, and she does get 6th position there in front of Aidan Line. A great drive from Jessica Edgar. So it's McCurris in front of Luke Watts. 3rd position is Pearson, 4th is Algieri, and then it's Harrison and Edgar in front of Aidan Line, Gabriel Still, Ian Aguilera, and then in 10th place that is Evan Brown in front of Alfie Baxter-Davies, with Ashton Parsons continuing to make progress there in 12th. So Theo Makuris is just chipping away at this advantage, extending the gap lap after lap after lap. He's so strong in that second sector, that's where he's able to gain the time, and in the third sector too. Luke Watts gets a personal best in that third sector, but all it takes is a little kick of the curb and there's a big gap between them. 1.7 seconds is the gap in the wet conditions. Pearson is about 6 seconds back from Luke Watts in third position. And then it is Algieri from Harrison, Edgar, Line, Still, Aguilera, Brown, Baxter-Davies and Parsons. So it looks as though it's pretty much settling itself out, other than the fight for 5th position, because Harrison is being caught by Jessica Edgar, and Edgar has a chance to get this one sorted at the end of the season to steal some personal pride and win the Fusion Motorsport battle for the season. She is going to be the leading Fusion driver other than Oliver Greenall, and she would love to pick up a few more points. She's got 6.18 as things currently stand. Harrison drifts wide. And is that enough for Edgar? Not quite able to get on the inside there this time to move into 5th position. And of course, there is still an incredibly high chance that the rain is going to come back over the circuit here at Whilton Mill. It's likely to be a wet day for pretty much the entirety and majority of. So the drivers will have to fight very hard in the closing stages. 5 minutes to go. And the drivers continue to duel and tussle away. Jess Edgar swarming around behind Bart Harrison, her teammate, as they duel for 5th position. Theo Makuris is being caught now by Watts. The gap is about 1.8, but Watts is faster than Makuris in the first sector, and looks like he's going to be faster than Makuris in the second sector. It looks as though he's looked after the tyres to the correct degree, and now he's got a chance to wind him back in. So Luke Watts running a great race here in second place. He's not let the fact that Theo Makuris has taken an early bath out in front get to him. He is still pushing, he is still getting those tyres worked very nicely indeed around the circuit, and he is using every apex to his advantage. He's learning how the circuit is evolving, and he's not done yet at all. So Makuris comes through, second place. Watts is there in behind him. So Makuris is looking at second in the Drivers' Championship with this performance. 1.73, so Watts gained a little bit on that lap, but not really enough to have a proper serious crack at going for it. There's battles in the field. 7th position, we've got Gabriel Still swarming around all over the back of Aidan Line as they duel over 7th position, and Gabriel Still is trying to make a go of it up on the inside line. Can he make the move stick? He's not quite able to get through there on the inside of Christmas. So some good duels through the field, but Gabriel Still is not quite able to make the move. Aidan Line is just keeping that car wide enough as they go through Ashby. Stilp is now trying to edge away a little bit from Ian Aguilera, and now he's going to make a late lunge up the inside. Gabriel Stilp gets on the curbs. Line drives around the outside, and Stilp is not quite able to get the move done. Now he drifts out wide. Aguilera nearly catches him out, but a good bit of defensive driving there from Gabriel Stilp keeps him in command. 3 minutes and 25 on the clock as Theo Makuris goes through, and now he's really extending the gap. 3.3. Watts has got a problem of some kind. Either that or he's made a massive mistake on that lap. He seems to have made a terrible move in the first and last, also the first sector. He lost a good second to Theo Makuris just in one sector. So he's really struggling now to hold on from Theo Makuris. Edward Pearson is being caught a little bit by Olivia Algieri now, so third position could still change before the end of this race, and that battle for 7th is absolutely nail-biting at the moment, because we've got Aidan Line, Gabriel Stilp, and now Ian Aguilera joining the party down into the braking zone for Ashby, and Stilp is going to try and get the switch back on Aidan Line, and he needs to, because Ian Aguilera is coming for a move as well. And Aguilera is going to pounce on Stilp. Stilp tries to hold him round the outside, the back end steps out, and he hangs on to it, but he drifts wide in the next apex and gets through Ian Aguilera, but Stilp is trying to come back at him. Aguilera's got the move. Really good racecraft in the middle of the field here, as out in front, Theo Makuris now charges to a 4-second lead. He is nearly he's over 7/10 of a second quicker per lap than Luke Watts, and it looks as though the job is done. So Theo Makuris just needs to keep on pounding around the circuit for the last 2 minutes and the additional lap that comes with it. And he is the vice champion of 2019 behind Oliver Greenall. But third place is still a contest at the moment, because Edward Pearson is being challenged by Olivia Algieri, who is trying to gain some ground And as a response to that, Edward Pearson has set the fastest first sector of anybody. He's just gone very quick indeed to try and shake off the attentions of Olivier Algieri. If he can keep that sort of pace up, Edward Pearson, then third position will be his, and that will secure for him fifth place in the driver's standings. So they come off the final turn. Theo Mercouris has a minute and a half to go, so by our current rate of knots, that is 3 laps, including this one. Watts is there in second place still, Pearson third, fourth is Algieri, still throwing everything at him as the final sector is the fastest of all for Olivier Algieri. He is really trying to get the gap down, and it started raining again, so the rain has come back. This is what we were fearing might happen during the race. So now, those drivers who've been struggling for grip are now going to have a little bit more at their disposal. Could this change things in the last couple of minutes of this race? Because the rain has definitely come back, and it's getting heavier by the moment. So Theo Mercouris out in front, doing a grand job, leading the way from Luke Watts. Edward Pearson running well in third place, but Algieri is not far away. Then it is Harrison in front of Edgar, and it looks like a bit of a stalemate between those two. So we could get a very interesting end to the season for certain, but it looks to me as though Oliver Greenall is going to get the job done. He's stood here on the sidelines watching his colleagues battle away out on circuit as Theo Mercouris is set to clinch second in the driver's standings in front of Luke Watts. Pearson still being hustled a little by Algieri, and then the two fusions of Bart Harrison in fifth and Jessica Edgar in sixth position. Seventh place is going to be a bit of a toss-up at the moment between Ian Aguilera. Well, Aguilera's got past them both, in fact, and has started to check out. But Gabriel Stilp is throwing everything bar the kitchen sink at Aidan Line in their battle over 8th place. Up to Christmas turn once again, can still get up the inside, trying his best, but there's no way through. Aidan Line is not making this easy for Gabriel Stilp at all, and the time has run down to 0. So Theo Mercouris is about to start the last lap of the season. And this is going to be a very tough battle for 8th position between Stilp and Line. Stilp has finally got through, but Line is still throwing everything at him. He's not going to shake him off easily. And these two are likely to keep this duel going right the way to the checkered flag. Last lap for Theo Mercouris. He's out in front, having totally commanded the second half of this race. Once he got into a decent position, he allowed himself to stretch out the advantage little by little, and Luke Watts has succumbed to the pressure just a little and has lost out now to 3.6 seconds. The gap has increased. So Theo Mercouris is going to get the job done here in fine style in the race and in the vice championship status of the title fight. Oliver Greenall is a worthy champion on the sidelines, but Theo Mercouris has fought through thick and thin, and the crop promotion driver is going to come through to become the vice champion of 2019 after a solid run here this weekend at Whilton Mill. He's done the homework, he's got the job done as hard as he possibly can, and up through the final turns of the season, never mind the circuit, Theo Mercouris comes out of the final corner, takes the checkered flag, and he is the winner of a fantastic race here. Absolutely sensational job. Theo Mercouris then takes the title. A brilliant display. Vice champion is Theo Mercouris. He wins the final race of the season. Luke Watts is there in second and Edward Pearson in third. They finish the season in the top 5 of the standings, those three. Theo Mercouris is the vice champion. Luke Watts is the second runner-up, third in the standings. But Oliver Greenall, who sat on the sidelines watching it all unfold, is the British Mini X30 champion of 2019. Mercouris wins from Watts and Pearson, Algieri, Bart Harrison and Jessica Edgar, from Ian Aguilera, Gabriel Stilp, Aidan Line and Evan Brown, then Alfie Baxter Davies and Ashton Parsons. But Oliver Greenall is the British Mini X30 champion.
Theo Mercouris and Luke Watts secure a top 3 finish in a fantastic season, whilst Edward Pearson deservedly ends his year in the top 3 at a very wet Whilton Mill.
At the start it was hard. They got away at the start. I tried to work my way back up but just struggled with pace. We went new tyre, they went a bit older, so they had the advantage because it got a bit drier at the start. But going through the race I was sort of quite lonely, couldn't really make my way forward or backwards. But that was it really. I couldn't do any better than third, so really happy with it.
Well, it was spitting He was spitting a bit at the start of the race and dried back up. Managed to catch up to Macoris and then overtook him, took the lead for a bit, and then I got overtaken and got dropped. So I came second. That's it.
So I started off on pole, got a good start. There was a few spits of rain, we were on new tyres, there was a few dry patches, so I was kind of getting used to what the track was like, seeing where it was wet and dry, so it was a real test, but started spitting halfway through, made it a bit slippy, it dried out a bit again, but yeah, it was a good race. Yeah, I'd like to thank Platform High as well, so good race.